on Tuesday, the 2nd of September, 2025. We are in conversation with Haji Suare. Haji is the national president of the national youth president of the United Democratic Party, the UDP. Recently, Haji, we saw a lot of protests in our streets by young people, and some of them you were involved in. One of them actually was organized by the youth wing, which you head of the UDP. Remind us again what you were fighting for.
Uncle Peter, yes, there were a lot of processes recently, and it's true. They are all processes that are definitely important, because if government continue to ignore the concern of citizens, always you will see protests. And there will be protests in scenarios of not even applying for permit, because frustrations, one cannot continue to sustain them at your home.
You will protest even without permit?
If it is necessary, yes, of course I will do it. Yes, if it is necessary. So we protested because government has taken an initiative calling it Overseas ID Card is One scheme to Gambian citizens. For us, when we look at the scheme, we thought the government, under the current laws, have no power to do such an activity outside of the country. If you want to issue an ID card outside, there is no way that government can do it without fulfilling those legal mandates. So that is why we wrote to the Gambia Immigration Department in May, because in April they went to Mauritania. When they went there, they raised reasons that there are Gambian citizens there who are there, they need support, they need help, they are in trouble. They raised so many reasons. But for us, we stand at yes. Every Gambian citizen's right, it is their right to have documents, and supposed to be done by the Gambia government. But in as much as you should give Gambian people or Gambian citizens those documents, there are also processes and procedures you must follow. If you don't follow those processes and procedures, then we deem that necessary for us to remind them that it is your duty to do that, but the law tells you cannot do this. Do it this way. This is the way you can do it. They did not respond. The only response we get from the GID is to redirect to the Ministry of Interior, which we also reach out to. But up to August, the Ministry did not call us, neither do they respond to our letter. For them, they said they did not receive any letter from us or from the GID concerning about the issue we raised. We think that the government has ignored the concern, because there was a press conference that your radio, in fact, attended or covered. That is Gambian ID card scheme, a great concern. I led that group, and I also dropped a letter to the minister through his secretary. But that letter also was never been addressed to, never been responded to. So we think that now it is necessary that, because since that documentations are also having relation to elections, and documentations are also related to the security of citizens, has a party that is thinking of being in government sooner, inshallah, should stand and protect the integrity of that document. And that's why we submitted a permit for procession to raise a concern collectively to ensure that government should know that it's not only coming from Haji, but there is a group of people who are also concerned, and their concerns must be listened to, not only be listened to, but should be addressed. If we think that we want a country that's supposed to be entering in 2026 election in peace, pre-election peace is important to be considered. Post-election also peace is very important to consider. So we cannot have this peace without having fair, transparent, equitable elections for all political players. And we think this scheme is not in the interest of Gambian citizens, but in an interest of one individual party or a group of people who think that they can manipulate the system through these kind of schemes. That's why we protest.
Manipulate what system?
The electoral system. They wanted to, for me, I think they want to manipulate the electoral system. They want to inflate it in their own way, in their own desire. And then when
what they're giving out are ID cards, not voters cards.
Yeah, they cannot give out voters card at this particular time, and they can only give ID card for one to have access to voters card. If I say they can only give ID card, means in those countries today, as we speak, without being because they are not transparent with the process. So they can only use ID card scheme as an excuse. But the ultimate goal of the project is to end up giving voters cards.
Okay. Can they give out vote? Can they give voters cards outside? I thought that's one of the issues with diaspora voting.
Yeah, and potentially, you know, UDP is an advocate for the diaspora to vote, and we continue to advocate for it because it's their right to vote.
I know, yes.
We stand with those people in the diaspora. If you can put almost 31% into the GDP of this country, why not you have the right to vote? But even if you cannot put a single butut, it is your right as a citizen to vote. So, but in doing so, government should be transparent with that process. In 2021 election, I think some people challenged this diaspora voting, and the Supreme Court ruled in their favor that diaspora have the right to vote and to be voted for. So if diaspora had the right to vote and to be voted for, IEC did not give us any legal challenge. The only reason they gave us at the time is that there's no sufficient funds to be able to go with this diaspora voting. But recently we've seen that the 2019 election bill, after the rejection of the Barrow 2024 draft constitution, so the MPP and allies, they rejected a clause called Clause 14 in the 2019 election bill that the diaspora cannot be registered because there are some challenges in the constitution. The diaspora is not demarcated as a constituency, therefore they cannot be given the right to vote. For us, which we think that is a flimsy excuse, it's just like trying to deny people their fundamental constitutional right because you don't trust that they are going to vote for you. And in that sense, we advocated that diaspora must vote, and that clause must be reinstated back into the 2019 draft constitution. So the pressure, I know, is not coming only from the UDP. This is a push back from Gambian citizens, concerned people, including some of them are even in the NPP. Now the pressure, I think that it has reached to the international community, who are also forcing them. Now they have no excuse.
Who in the international community?
I cannot name any person, anybody, but there are partners in the international community that are partners to the Gambia, that support Gambia financially, in budget, and on many other things. So if the government is saying that money is our issue to deny Gambians in the diaspora, I know there are partners who are concerned that no right is supposed to be violated because of money. And for that reason, some people might try to give the support financially for Gambian diaspora to vote. So if that is tabled before the government, they have no other excuse. Now the only thing they can do, if they don't trust the Western diaspora, how can they use their means to ensure that diaspora in Africa should also capitalize in that one to inflate the voter role in the diaspora. Whenever diaspora voting is coming on, they will now say that yes, we have an equalizer. Mm-hmm. And that's the point we have seen. We think that if they should do that, they should be transparently communicating that yes, diaspora voting is coming. The government is going to implement the diaspora voting. But when we are doing so, this is the process we want to use. We want to first give them Gambian documents. And in giving them Gambian documents, this is the document, and the document we are giving them, register them so that the numbers of the Gambian in the diaspora can be known to every Gambian citizen. So that whenever elections are coming, every player in the political field has prepared to do what you can to ensure that whenever they are voting, we all have the equal say to make sure that our policies and programs can convince them to vote, and make sure that that system, when registering, is not inflated with illegal voters. But when we do it behind the scene, I did not know. So with only the name that you want to help Gambian citizens, then that begs the question to ask you, what is going to be the effect of a Gambian ID card in Gabon? What can a Gambian ID card benefit a Gambian citizen in Angola? What can a Gambian ID card benefit a Gambian citizen in Congo? Because I was in those countries. I know a Gambian document like ID card is irrelevant to any of their processes. You cannot go to the bank and make any transaction. In fact, even Senegal here, you cannot go with a Gambian ID card and do any transaction with it. They only ask you a passport. So if you go to Gabon today, you want to give Gambian citizens, anyway, to you, Gambian citizen, an ID card. That ID card cannot give that person a residential permit of Gabon. Cannot be a requirement. It's not even a requirement. The only requirement there to ensure that a Gambian citizen in Libreville, to enable him to travel from Libreville to other parts of Gabon, is a consular card if the person is not having a passport or a residential permit. You can also, a Gambian ID card has an identification in Gabon or Angola or in those countries there. The consular card that is relevant to that process or for that purpose, why that you cannot give that consular card to the Gambian who needed it for a process that is going to be beneficial to him.
Okay.
So, but we know that consular cards are not requirement to get a voter's card. They cannot give any Gambian citizen a voter's card because they are not a requirement.
So according to you, they are only issuing the ID card because the ID card will give access to those who are receiving it.
Yes.
To the voters card.
To the voters card,
which they, which then makes them potential, participants in the forthcoming election.
Makes them potential to be eligible for
Okay.
registration.
The government,
but I also heard them saying, if government want to register like Gambians in the diaspora, give them voters card, that's not going to be ID card. They talk about birth certificate. Yes, of course, they are giving birth certificate in this scheme. And they are not communicating to that gap.
They are giving birth certificates?
They were giving the Gambian.
They were, but they have stopped.
No, in fact, the whole entire scheme, let me tell you the lack of transparency in this government. This news was broke to us when we applied for the permit. But even the ministry did not know that these people were back. So when we submitted a permit for procession, police requested for us to have like that engagement for the follow-up to the letter we wrote to the GID, and the letter was later redirected to the ministry. So in that discussion, the GID director broke a news that, in fact, why can't you cancel this? Because these people, none of them are now in those countries. They are all brought back in the country. So, but it was a news, even to the ministry there. The ministry, he said, that's supposed to be responding to us.
That the people were supposed to be receiving these national ID cards were already,
No, the people who are issuing the national ID card,
okay.
the immigration officers,
okay,
they were brought back.
The enrollment team.
The enrollment team.
Okay.
None of them, as we speak, none of them are there. They are all brought back in the country. So, but, our concern is, before you go to those countries, Uncle Peter, governments will have tell us, like, let's say, 800 Gambians are living in Gabon. Among that number, we have like a significant number of 100 people or 300 people need Gambian ID card. But this is the reason that is leading the government to take a team at the expense of Gambian taxpayers to go and enroll those people there. But they did not communicate to us how many Gambians are living there. They did not give us the reasons why they are giving these ID cards in Gabon, because the Mauritania owners exposed them. They said ID cards are the problems of the Mauritanians, but our brothers and sisters in Mauritania, that was not the problem, because when they issued the ID card and the team came back, that's the time, in fact, those people keep facing the worst problems in Mauritania. So, but in Gabon, there was no scenario of any trouble that Gambians are facing there. That will lead the Gambian government to institute that team urgently to give out the Gambian ID card in Gabon, which is irrelevant to any of their problems there. So, but when they brought back the team also, they never told Gambians that no team is there. So it is only after this pressure started, they recalled the team. So when the team also come, they were keeping quiet about it. When we apply for a permit, they said now they are going, let's now cancel the permit. They are now going for the Mansakunda press briefing to inform Gambians that how many Gambians have the ID card, and among them how many people are rejected. We said no, we are formally requesting the data from you people. How many Gambians have been issued this ID card? What are the documents they use as supporting documents? This must be available. If you people are...
Are you still waiting for answers, or
yes,
those answers have been provided?
No, we are still waiting for answers, because we submitted the letter, but we are yet to get an answer for that one.
Okay.
Yes.
The government argues that under, international instruments, including the Vienna Convention, it can do what it has started doing.
Vienna Convention, nowhere in that Vienna Convention they can bang on to say we have the right under this particular convention agreement.
Well, that's what they are leaning on.
But they did not. They only say Vienna Convention. On what? Extending public service. That doesn't mean that you have to get a team and go and register ID card outside. Extending public service means that you are there. The consular card is a public service. Why can't you offer the consular card, which is relevant to those people's problem there? They were given passports there. They were given passport in Spain. They started giving passport in Spain and other countries. But the UDP never complained about it.
Because that is okay.
Of course, that is okay. That is okay. Gambians travel with passports. And passports should be issued to Gambians in the diaspora.
Where they are.
Where they are. That should be done. But
So that bit of the Vienna Convention agreements and whatever...
It's just false.
You know, for the passports to be issued at consular services and all of that,
Of course.
You're okay with that?
Of course. We are very okay with that.
But not the national ID
Not the national ID card. Because the national ID card, look, Uncle Peter, in this African country, the technique they are using, we are aware of it. If I'm Suare in an English-speaking country,
yes,
spell my name in Suare. Go to French-speaking country, spell my name in Suare. Go to Portuguese-speaking countries, spell my name in Suare. You would see the difference. And a Portuguese citizen or a Malian citizen, a Guinean citizen will not surrender their passport, national passports, for a Gambian passport. So if you go to those countries, that they all go there, we all gather there. Like you have the Guineans, you have the Malians, you have the Burkinabes, you have the Beninois, you have the Nigerians. We are all based there. But you have Kamara in Mali, Swane in Mali, like the way you have Swane in Mali and Suare in Guinea. When we gather in Gabon...
I used to call you Swane.
Of course, really, no.
Until you read it.
Yes, my family name is Swane. This error occurred in school time. When
you write it with an R, but you pronounce it with an N.
Yes, no, it is pronounced officially on the paper, Suare. But if you go...
That's what I'm saying. So yes, on the papers, you write it with an R.
Exactly.
But then when you speak it, it's
N.
It's Swane.
It's N, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
when you go to Guinea, this is what you find there. The Swanes. But the spellings are the differences. So if you want to go and give ID cards, passports to those people, in Gabon, it is easy with Malian passport to have Gabonese documents. If you want to have Gabonese residential permit, or if you naturalize in Gabon, it's easy with Malian passport or French-speaking passports. They will never surrender their Malian passport for a Gambian passport there. But if you want to have them registered for election, and they are friends to me in Gabon, I am a friend there, he is a Malian, I'm a Malian, but we live together there, has people from West Africa. So now that we are coming to have election, I can simply convince them, go, take this ID card, we want to go in election so you can vote for us. Any other thing that is on top of it, you and him knows what you are going to do there. But that ID card is purposely, I can tell you, confirm it here, is for electoral purpose.
Okay, let's move on. We will be getting the Minister of External Affairs later this week on Thursday. So government will be in a position to respond to that. Another issue you raised during the course of the protest was the election deposit, which has been revised upwards. Surely, if you want to be president of this country, I mean, you have to show that financially, you're okay. You have, you're strong financially. Not to come now and try to use the presidency, to financially enrich yourself. Although people will say, well, it doesn't matter. You can be a multi-billionaire once you are, corruption-minded. Your hunger for additional wealth will know no bounds. But what's the reason of the UDP youth wing, or Haji, who is sitting in front of me, to not want the election deposit for president to be raised to $1 million?
Thank you very much, Uncle Peter. You see, Gambians have to understand that integrity is not judged based on wealth. One's competency is not decided by money. One's moral compass is not determined by money. I could be very poor, and yet still your millions doesn't take me to do things that can jeopardize the interest of the collective masses. Barrow was very rich. Before I come to that particular question you asked, he was very rich before coming to power, according to him. He have millions in his account before he was elected into power. He have several landed properties before he came to power. But it doesn't stop President Barrow from kidnapping, I call it, or hijacking a state property to be changed into his name. That is the former Chief Justice residence in Fajara. Barrow was very rich according to him, right? But it does not stop him from sponsoring a bill called the former president's bill to be paid equally as the sitting president. He came with that idea to also be accorded with privileges like the sitting president. He came with that idea. So all the millions he was having before being in government, it does not give him the courage to stop working with people allegedly being involved or being suspended or being banned for involving in corruption. He hired them back. He in fact sponsored a bill called the Commission of Inquiry Amendment Bill to rehire people who were...
People like who?
Of course, people like Muhammad Sabali, his presidential advisor. People like Nyoguba. The Jana Commission recommendation was very clear on them. But Barrow rehired them back because of greed for power. So we think that Section 26 of the 1997 Constitution is very clear. You know, unreasonable restrictions cannot be like a justifiable reason for one to say this is why we want to have Uncle Peter as president because he's rich. But Uncle Peter is very poor, then he cannot be a president. When Uncle Peter's integrity, his competence is more value to the Gambia than the person who is a multimillionaire. So for us, the Constitution is very clear. You cannot use on reasonable reasons to restrict people from participating in public affairs. So the draft 2019 election bill, I think that portion there, as I said, is a sentimental reaction. Emotionally, the people in the majority caucus are reacting to the rejection of the 2024 draft constitution. For them, they think that draft constitution was rejected by the minority caucus. So now, how can we now narrow down the space to ensure that people who want to fight for the interest of the common masses cannot just take part in the public or in public affairs? So increasing from $5,000 to $150,000 is for a parliamentarian. For example, I will quote Omar Jato Jammeh, Honorable Omar Jato Jammeh, a member of Janjambure constituency. He's doing a wonderful job. Neither he is UDP, nor is he MPP. But he's serving the interests of the Gambian people, not only the people of Janjambure. So, but at the time of his National Assembly election, if you said Omar Jato Jammeh and his people who are supporting him to ensure that they have to table to an IEC $150,000 Gambian dollars, excluding his campaign money, to be able to reach to every household, where is he going to get that money?
He would not have made it.
Even if he's going to do it, but it will be very tough for him. Or discourage him, in fact, for testing himself. So we think that, yes, there should be a reasonable fee attached to it. But excessive has 150,000. So that is to narrow down the space.
So what would be reasonable?
No, I wouldn't recommend to them anything that is reasonable. But I will tell him that we will not allow that bill to pass with that. If he pass with that one, this means that MPP and Alliance members, they are not working for the interest of this country. Because what we rejected in 2015, when former President Jammeh brought up that bill, increasing the fee for nomination to $1 million, all those people, majority of those people in parliament, their party members were part of the people who protested against it in 2015. In fact, Jammeh reduced it down to $500,000. The same people...
Would that be a reasonable amount? $500,000?
It's not even reasonable. It's not even reasonable. For me.
It was still exorbitant.
It's exorbitant, of course. Because I believe that the level of unemployment in this country, the level of poverty in this country would still stop some people. The fee is not a problem. But if you want to sponsor a candidate with that nature, not only if presidency, but parliamentary or mayoral, councillorship, 3,000 to 10,000, mayors, $100,000. If a party want to sponsor candidates across the country, and you want to have clean money, and that's why we were very happy to endorse and support the 2020 draft constitution, because political parties should have tell people where they are getting their money. This is going to give Gambians that clear understanding that yes, our parties coming to government are not favoring individuals in terms of contract and procurement awardings to people who supported them during their campaign periods. But the procurement processes, contracts awarded are based on merit-based and the people who deserve it most, as far as qualifications are concerned. Okay. But with the current status quo, Barrow and his people coming up with this one, this is telling you that the type of bureaus they are building across is the type of campaign they want to drive and eliminate opponents to ensure that there's no divergent views in our political discourse. Okay. And if that happens, it is us, the Gambian people, who are going to suffer. That's why the UDP, we rejected it. We think it is unfair And then it definitely means that what we fought in 2015 to 2016, the purpose that is defeated.
What can you tell us about, the selection? Is it selection or election process for UDP flag bearer, which is ongoing right now, and it's causing a lot of discourse and public attention?
UDP will always lead the democratic, how do I call it? If you come to democratic issues in this country, the UDP always lead it. We train Gambians on how democracy works. One could see it ugly. One could see it, there is a brouhaha in UDP. One could see there is a fight in UDP. No, but it's not fight. We open something to the public that you own it. And if you own something, you have to participate. So this selection process is a democratic process UDP has been doing. And that is why the process this year also is not an exception. We did not only said we are going to select a flag bearer, but we open it for a public debate. And that's the debate you are seeing going around. People are expressing different views, different choices.
Give us an update. Who has applied so far that you know of? Of course, you can only share information you know.
Anyway, I know that Mr. Dabo has applied.
The party leader?
The party leader applied since on the 26th, 6th of this month. No, last month. Okay. Today we are on the 2nd.
We are in September, yes,
already.
September,
yes. 26th of August, he submitted his application.
That's Tuesday of last week.
Yes, he submitted his application. Yesterday, I also heard that Mayor Bensouda also applied. And then I think there will be other applicants also, but I have not seen any other name coming. But these two names have been captured by the media, credible media houses. Although I'm not in the position to speak for the party on that, I also rely on the media that I saw that they might not publish something that is not authentic to them. The letters are addressed to the national president, and I have no access to the letters. I don't know who apply or who doesn't apply as an executive member. But as they rely on those information outside, I can also rely on them and say that Mr. Labo has applied since on the 26th, and Mayor Bensouda also applied yesterday as well, going around.
And when is D-Day?
The D-Day is on the 10th.
That's when we will know.
Inshallah.
Wednesday of next week.
Inshallah. The public will know exactly who is the flag bearer of the UDP. And I can tell you, the competent one, the most capable one, with the political will to change the status quo. I talk about the laws of this country that we fought in 1996 to 2016. They are still unchanged. What causes is lack of political will. I talked about the economic reforms in this country. What has stopped us? The World Bank last week has come up with a revolution that, look, Gambia, the debt burden is too high on us. We must prioritize and reduce unnecessary expenditures. We must size it. We must, spend based on our size. We must be prioritizing on productive sectors. And that is the type of candidate with the political will, the consistency in politics, the fight the person continue to do in the struggle that Gambian people are fighting since 1996 to date. That's the type of candidate among the applicants we're going to bring. We are not going to give Gambian citizens anything that they could regret. Among the applicants, anybody who is selected, Uncle Peter, trust me, the person will serve the collective interest of all Gambians if elected president, inshallah.
The person who is eventually going to be elected, will he be guaranteed the total support of every UDP supporter today?
If those UDPians believe in democracy, if those people believe that democracy is about different choices, divergent views, and dissenting opinions, if those people know that UDP came a long way, in fact, 2023, we have exercised this process, this activity. 16 applicants applied from West Coast region. One was selected. The one that was selected, all the rest rally behind the person, campaign vigorously to ensure that UDP and Gambian people wins. And that has happened. So there's no difference from this one also. Like I said, democracy is a process. And democracy talked about transparency. Democracy talked about choice. And democracy talked about views that are going to be divergent and opinions that are going to be dissenting. So if these principles are respected as the core value of our today's democracy, I believe any candidate that is selected, no UDPian will go against it, because it is in interest, as I said, how do we get these laws to be reformed? Who is the suitable person? How do we get the economy of the Gambia to cater and be justly distributed among Gambian citizens without being biasness, without being favored, without just misprioritizing in spending it, the type of caliber who should this thing is the person who will be selected. And I believe the person will deliver to expectation.
Fantastic. Haji Swane, even though I spell it with an R.
Yes.
Haji Swane.
You can say Swane. That's the correct one.
National Youth President of the UDP. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
You're welcome, Uncle Peter.
Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Axel jam si wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do dede. Luta mo nulo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello?
Bisul mu fine.
What?
Bisul mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Axina Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave. Bisul mu fine? Wave. Your money is yours.